When you're writing a script, you're not just writing for the page, you're writing for the edit. And if you understand how a video editor thinks and how they approach a scene, you'll be able to write scripts that are stronger, clearer, and more effective on screen. My name is Max. I've been a professional video editor for the past 7 years, and in this video, I'm going to share with you the 4 screenwriting principles that make your script stronger in the edit. The first principle is come in late and get out early. As editors, we always try to cut into scenes as late as possible and leave them as early as possible. This overall helps us keep the pacing of the film tight, and it helps us keep audiences engaged. It's a very common way of trimming the fat out of a scene. A fun example of this is the opening scene from Chinatown, where we begin on Curly reacting to photographs of his girlfriend being unfaithful. We can imagine an alternate version of this scene where we see Curly walking into Giddy's office. Giddy's greets Curly. They maybe have a bit of a chit chat. Then Giddy's gives Curly the photographs, and then we see Curly reacting to the photographs. Instead, we cut out all of that fluff at the beginning because it's inconsequential, and we begin right at the first moment of conflict. This makes the beginning a lot more intriguing, it hooks the viewers, and it makes your scene a lot more powerful. You don't have to worry about this so much when you're writing your first draft, because I think honestly at that point, the most important thing is just getting your script out on the page. But when you're revising your script, pay close attention to the beginnings and endings of each scene. Are you coming in as late as you can without losing the story? And are you leaving as early as you can without losing the story? So apply this mindset to every scene of your film, and you'll be amazed at how much stronger your script really is. The next key principle is only include essential dialogue. If you're wondering what is one of the most common things that editors cut out all the time, that is unnecessary dialogue. Usually in a film, dialogue should serve one of 2 main functions. It should move the story forward or reveal something about a character. Ideally, a line of dialogue can do both. That is a real dynamite line. But if you have a line that serves one of those purposes, then it is good to stay. If a line of dialogue does not serve either or, then get rid of it. Now, of course, there are exceptions to this. I mean, there is no one golden rule of screenwriting. Writers like Quentin Tarantino or Aaron Sorkin are known for writing a ton of dialogue in their scripts. That being said, in their cases, their dialogue is the entertainment of the movie because they write in such an inherently captivating and fun way. So if your writing isn't as strong or as distinctive as theirs, then I would personally always recommend to stick to only the essential lines of dialogue, because you will run the risk of bogging down your script. And if you don't get rid of all of those unnecessary lines, trust me, the editor will. The third principle is show emotion through visual cues. At the end of the day, the job of a film editor is to tell the story in the most emotionally powerful way possible. But an editor is restricted by what has been filmed, right? They can only edit what's been captured. So it is your job as the screenwriter to make sure that it is clear in every scene what the emotional core is. How are the characters feeling in the scene? And in order to do that, since film is a visual medium, you have to show us how the characters feel visually. For example, if a character feels sad, you don't want to write, "she feels sad." You want to find a visual way of showing us this sadness, because that is something that the filmmakers can capture, and it is something that the editors can edit. One of my favorite examples of this is in No Country for Old Men. There's a scene where the antagonist goes into a gas station, and he has a very tense encounter with a gas station clerk. In the scene, the antagonist finishes a bag of peanuts and sets it down on the counter. And then you have this shot of the bag of peanuts slowly expanding. And then you see the gas station clerk looking down at the bag expanding. That one visual of the bag slowly uncrumpling adds so much tension. It just gives the audience this feeling that time is moving really slowly and something's brewing. And having the shot of the gas station clerk looking down at it and noticing it makes us feel like he's feeling that tension too. Now let's see how this moment was written in the script. In the script, it says, he finishes the cashews and wads the packet and sets it on the counter where it begins to slowly unkink. The proprietor's eyes have tracked the packet. Chigger's eyes stay on the proprietor. So you can see that this was written exactly as it is in the film. So when you're writing your script, try to find moments to include these kind of powerful visual clues that let us in on how a character is feeling. It just helps make sure that the filmmakers capture these moments and then the editors have them to work with. The final key principle is avoid camera directions that limit coverage. As a general rule in screenwriting, I would always say don't include camera directions because that's not your job. That's the job of the director. So things like push in on this character or tracking shot of this character as she walks through the bar, just leave those out of your script. However, these types of camera directions do still find their way into screenplays, especially with newer screenwriters. And where it becomes a real issue from my perspective as an editor is when camera directions have been included that have limited the coverage options for a scene. Coverage is just a fancy filmmaking term for the different shots and angles that a filmmaker captures to tell the story. And you do not want to include camera directions in your screenplay that limit coverage options. This is particularly an issue with the one shot. The one shot is a shot where a scene is captured in one continuous take. The one shot has become really popular these days, especially when great shows like Adolescence or The Studio pull it off so well. A one shot can be extremely powerful when done perfectly, but that's also where the weakness of it is. If it's not done perfectly, then you really run the risk of it falling flat. And if you've only captured a scene from this one continuous shot, the editor doesn't have anything else to work with. What an editor's superpower is, like what they can really bring to the table, is combining bits and pieces from different takes in a scene and putting them all together to make the best version of the scene. And if you only capture a scene from one angle, like you would with a one shot, then you kind of take that power away from the editor. This is certainly not to say that filmmakers can't include one-shots in their film. Of course they can, but that needs to come from the filmmaker. So if a filmmaker reads a script and says, you know what, this scene will best be told in the one shot, then they should go ahead and do that. And then the editor's job is just to support the filmmaker's vision. But as far as screenwriting is concerned, if you are not the director, don't do the director's job for them. Just focus on telling a rich, powerful story in writing, and then let the editor and the director bring that story to life. So those were the 4 key screenwriting principles that will help make your script optimized for the edit. Look, screenwriting is only one phase of the storytelling process, and the edit is truly where the film will take its final shape. So the more you understand the edit and how an editor thinks, the more intentional your screenwriting becomes. If you like this video and you would like more editing insights and filmmaking tips just like this, please be sure to subscribe and leave a comment down below. What was helpful? Is there anything you disagreed with? Or is there anything you would add to these principles that I have not included? Let me know and I would love to hear from you. In the meantime, thank you so much for watching and I'll see you in the next video.